People who are not acquainted with our organization often ask us, what is our inspiration to be great leaders and to achieve our best of our ability? Members may give many different answers, but one reply remains the same: our advisors. They are the backbone of our FFA and agriculture experiences throughout high school. They serve as our role models, mentors, inspirations, and even a significant part of our family. They have encouraged us to reach our full potential and will not allow us any less. These people have truly touched each and every one of our lives. Without them, we would not be the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and privileged to introduce you a major part of our success, our FFA advisors.
Miss Wood, thank you for giving me my start in the FFA and for allowing me the opportunity to serve on my very first officer team. I will always cherish the day I zipped up my very first FFA jacket. Although we've went our separate ways, the memories from my very first state convention, where my passion to become a state officer first started, will last a lifetime. Priester, I really don't know how you've put up with me for this long, but I'm thankful that you have. Although technically you're my ag teacher, you have been more like a big brother to me. Thank you for listening to me rant and for setting me straight when I needed it. Thank you for all of the advice you have given me, even though I may not have asked for it. It always seemed to make the situation I was in better. You were always there for me when it felt like all odds were against me, and I will always be grateful for that. I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for you pushing me to always do my best. Thank you for being a role model for me and instilling in me a passion for agriculture education and the FFA. I can't wait to become an ag teacher so that I can impact the lives of others just like you have done for me. I hate to inform you that even though you're leaving Aiken, you're not getting rid of me yet. Love you, Priester. Ms. Wood, Mr. Priester, thank you all so much for helping me get to where I'm at today. I wouldn't be here without y'all. I want to present you with your advisor appreciation plaque. And to Aiken FFA, my state officer jacket.
Mr. Woody, even though we are about the same height, I look up to you as an ag teacher. You always kept the good old boys at school in line, somehow. Although I never had you as a teacher, I appreciate how you always asked how I was doing. G, I don't know how you did it, but you somehow took the shy girl who sat in the back of the class and made her into the leader I am today. Thank you for all of the encouragement, whether it be with FFA or anything else. I appreciate everything that you have done for me and making sure that I did my best and expecting nothing less. No matter what, you will always be the one and only G.
Thank you for all that you've done for me. I would like to present to you your advisor appreciation plaque. And to the BHP FFA chapter, my state officer jacket.
Mr. Harmon, although you haven't been at Peon the whole time I was there, you were still at all the events and activities. You have been a wealth of knowledge and were always there for advice. Mr. Stover, you saw more in me from the beginning than I could have ever imagined. Thank you for all the countless hours for preparing for different CDEs or the many words of wisdom. I can blame you for the reason I talk so much now, always putting me in unprepared situations, asking me to speak. Thanks for the honesty, even when I didn't want to hear it. I want to thank both of y'all for putting up with me over the last couple of years. And even though y'all try to get rid of me, but it hasn't happened yet, I want to present y'all with y'all's advisor appreciation plaques. Thank you very much. And to the Pillion FFA chapter, my state officer jacket.
Mr. Sanford, thank you for starting me out on what would be the best journey in my life. If you had never been able to get me in your agriculture class my freshman year, I may have never made it here today. Thank you for all of the inspiration and help along the way. I'll never forget all of our projects inside the shop, or trips to go get lumber during class that would lead to getting lunch while we were out, or the trip to my very first CDE competition in Clemson, and the FFA fruit sales, which was always fun. Even though I only was able to have you for 1 year, thank you, and I will always remember those days from now on. Mr. Miskelly, thank you for always taking the time to just sit down and talk with me and listen to all my stories that last forever, whether it was about logging, pine needles, hunting, fishing, and the list goes on. Thanks for always encouraging me about anything and always being there for me, for those early morning meetings to those late night texts. I'll never forget our road trips, the fruit sales you always said I was in last place for, our conversations, or just hanging out outside of FFA. Thanks for pushing me to always do more and never take anything for granted. I could never thank you both enough for everything y'all have done for me, and I know I can call on you at any time for anything, and y'all will always be there for me. So thank you. Mr. Sanford couldn't make it tonight, but he was a very big part of my start in my FFA career. And Mr. Miskelly, I just want to thank you for everything you've done. And you've definitely left a lasting impression on me. So I really appreciate it. Present you with your advisor appreciation plaque. To the York FFA chapter, my state officer jacket.
Mr. Earl, sometimes I wonder what you saw in that timid ninth grader that sat in the back of the classroom 5 years ago. But I can confidently say that it's because of your guidance and motivation that I stand on stage today. All I can say is thank you. Thank you for seeing potential in me and dragging me out of my comfort zone. Thank you for all the words of wisdom and our long philosophical discussions. Thank you for believing in me, even when I did not believe in myself. I know you expect great things from me in the future, so I'll do my best not to disappoint. P.S. To me, you're the real Mr. Earl. Mr. Earl, I really can't say thank you enough, so I'd like to present you with your Advisor Appreciation Plaque. And to the MACB FFA chapter, my state officer jacket.
Mr. Berry, thank you for all of the opportunities, experiences, and laughs you've given me over the years. You taught me the diversity of agriculture and how to be a leader while traveling to places I never thought I would see. I would not have become a state officer and had the same opportunity to serve in the same position you did 15 years ago if it weren't for your advice, wisdom, and encouragement. Miss Jordan, or Tully, or Etta. We've made a lot of memories since you became my student teacher my sophomore year and then became my advisor for the past 2 years. You constantly encourage me and make sure I stay positive and on my A game. It just takes a quick conversation between us to brighten each other's days. The wisdom y'all have shared with me will truly last a lifetime. Y'all have taught and inspired me so much. Thank you. Thank y'all for everything that you've done for me over the years, and here are your advisor appreciation plaques. And to the Pendleton FFA chapter, my state president jacket.
Thank you again for all that you have done throughout our FFA careers and all of you done to touch our lives. You have each had a very special place in our hearts and a bond that will never be broken. From the bottom of our hearts, we would like to thank each of you. Officers, please escort your advisors to their seats. One of the highlights of our state convention each year is the recognition of finalists in the state STAR competitions. The 3 categories in this area are Star Farmer, Star in Placement, and Star in Agribusiness. These awards are designed to recognize outstanding achievement in production agriculture, agribusiness, and FFA participation. A pin, plaque, and $1,200 are awarded to the state winners chapter to be used to attend the National FFA Convention and approved events such as WLC or a college scholarship. A pin and plaque will be awarded to each regional winner as well. Tonight we will recognize the region winners in each of the categories as well as declare a state winner. I would like to introduce James Ulmer, a representative of South Carolina Advocates for Agriculture, who sponsors this award, to announce the 2016 State FFA Star Farmer.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Let me take this opportunity to first congratulate our state officers for the tremendous job they have done and is doing, and congratulate you all for being the best students in South Carolina. On behalf of Ronnie Summers, the President of the Board of Directors for South Carolina Advocacy Board, I bring you greetings. The South Carolina Agriculture Advocacy Board was designed to support agriculture-related industries and businesses. You all are our greatest support group because you all are the future of agriculture. We support FFA and 4-H throughout South Carolina. We have also participated in the Planet Forward program and other funds that we supported agriculture throughout South Carolina. Madam Secretary, would you call out the Star Farmers, please?
Your Piedmont Region winner is Graylin Christenberry of the Crescent FFA chapter. Your Mid-State Region winner is Allison Harmon of the Gilbert FFA chapter. Your PD Region winner is Matt Stevens of the Loras FFA chapter. Your Lower State Region winner is Clay Holder of the Barnwell County Career Center FFA chapter. This concludes our list of winners.
And our state winner this year is Garland Christenberg of the Crescent FFA chapter.
Please direct your attention to the screen for a presentation of Graylin Star Farmer SAE.
South Carolina State Star Farmer is Graylin Christenberry from the Crescent FFA chapter. Graylin is a part owner of an 82-acre farm in Starr, South Carolina, which consists of beef cattle, poultry, hay, and timber. Graylin also rents an additional 20 acres of pasture land. Graylin has learned all aspects of farm life, including vaccination and clipping of his cattle. He observes his cattle each and every day and checks for sickness or injuries. Graylin knows each cow in the herd very well. Graylin has learned that 82 acres of pasture require constant maintenance on the fences to keep them in good condition, and has installed temporary electric fences to create rotational grazing. Graylin owns a total of 17 cows and knows the history and health of each of them as he checks them daily for sound herd management. One of Graylin's main chores is to feed his beef herd. He feeds hay that has been grown on their farm and adds minerals and other supplements to their diet. Graylin knows how to operate all of the equipment on his farm. He has learned proper maintenance techniques from his father, coupled with hands-on instruction from his agricultural education teachers. Graylin knows how to operate many implements that are used with several different sized tractors as they cut, rake, and bale hay for their cattle herd. Graylin weighs his show heifers and steers weekly to measure growth so that he can adjust his feed to maximize their genetic growth potential. Graylin knows that if he works with his herd often, this builds docility in the cattle, which makes it easier for him to administer shots. Graylin has mastered every piece of equipment on their farm and has learned how to artificially inseminate his herd. He'd rather do this so he can choose the genetics that best suit the needs of the market. He states that for the size of his herd, it is more cost efficient to artificially inseminate. Graylin is able to work his cattle in the chutes by himself. He states that while it's nice to have a helper, he has learned to manage alone if need be. Graylin knows that proper maintenance on farm equipment means fewer breakdowns in the field. He believes that proper maintenance on equipment may cost more time and material up front, but for a long-term investment, it is much less expensive to grease his equipment before a long day in the field. Graylin is a member of the Crescent FFA chapter, where Roger Estridge and Jeff Murdoch are his advisors. Your South Carolina State Star farmer is Graylin Christenberry from the Crescent FFA chapter.
At this time, would Blair read the names of the State Star and Agribusiness category? Will their parents and advisors please join them on stage?
Your Piedmont Region winner is Melanie Mulliken of the Pendleton FFA chapter. Your Mid-State Region winner is Austin Cathcart of the Lexington Richland 5 FFA chapter. This concludes our list of winners.
I am honored to present to you tonight the 2016 State FFA Star and Agribusiness Award to Melanie Mulliken of the Pendleton FFA chapter. And now if you'll direct your attention to the screen, we will have a brief presentation of Mulliken Star and Agribusiness.
South Carolina State Star in Agribusiness is Melanie Mulliken from the Pendleton FFA chapter. Melanie is the proud owner-operator of Moe's Snack Shack, which is a vending business where she mainly sells boiled peanuts. Melanie lives on a 20-acre farm in Pendleton, where she and her family have several varieties of livestock. Her family has owned this property since the 1890s. The Mulliken home was built in 1860 and has been well maintained by her family throughout the decades. She credits her parents for her success with her business. Melanie has a small building that is easily portable with a truck and trailer. She can have her building set up for business in less than 10 minutes wherever she travels. Melanie has found that the price of dry peanuts has increased from $38 to $50 per 50-pound bag, which has considerably cut into her profits. She enlists the help of her agricultural education teacher, Mr. Blake Berry, to assist her in finding the best prices across the state. She has found that comparative shopping is an essential part of maximizing her profits. She saves money by purchasing salt and other supplies in bulk. She purchases roughly 10 to 14 boxes of salt per week. Moe's Snack Shack gives back to the community by donating a portion of her profits back to the event at which she is working. For example, when she sold at the elementary school field day, she donated all of her profits back to their school. Melanie bags peanuts after she boils them to make for easier transportation and measuring for resale. She proudly displays her business license that must always be on display for the public to see. Melanie's business is a one-person operation and, of course, includes accounting. To maintain her bottom line and stay in the black, she is very attentive with her proceeds and keeps accurate records of her finances. Melanie has learned to set up her trailer and snack shack all alone and uses jacks to level her building. After returning from selling or cooking a batch of peanuts, she carefully washes all of her equipment to remove all of the salt and be ready for the next event. Along with her snack shack duties, she also comes home and tends to her family's livestock, which include beef cattle, goats, and donkeys. Melanie has become accustomed to hard work, which she credits her business with making her stronger physically and mentally. She uses propane to cook her peanuts and states that gas is the biggest expense besides the peanuts. Colder weather affects how much gas it takes to cook, which eats into her profits as well. Cooking peanuts is a long process that can't be rushed. The water has to be kept continuously boiling for the best tasting peanuts. She states that she has learned safe practices to avoid being burned by the steam. She believes in the best customer service, and she credits much of her recent business success with repeat customers and word-of-mouth advertisement. Melanie owns a one-person operation, but she still gives her parents and agricultural education teachers, Blake Berry and Rose Jordan, credit for her interest in agribusiness. South Carolina's state star in agribusiness is Melanie Mulliken from the Pendleton FFA chapter.
We are proud to present the Star in Agriculture Placement Award. Madam Secretary, will you now read the names of the finalists? Will their advisors and parents please join them on stage as their names are called?
Your Piedmont Region winner is Joseph Powell Copeland of the Anderson FFA chapter. Your Mid-State Region winner is Will Lever of the Newberry FFA chapter. Your PD Region winner is Markel Dixon of the Aner FFA chapter. This concludes our list of winners.
On behalf of the South Carolina FFA Foundation, I am honored to introduce to you the 2016 State FFA Star in Agriculture Placement, Will Lever of the Newberry chapter. And now if you'll direct your attention back to the screen, we'll watch your presentation of Will's Star in Agriculture Placement.
South Carolina State Star in Agricultural Placement is Will Lever from the Newberry FFA chapter. Will is employed by Lever Farms in Newberry, South Carolina, which grows, harvests, and markets a variety of seasonal vegetables. They transplant their strawberries as plugs, and he works together with his family as a team as they transplant 38,000 plants over 3 acres. Will lends his hand not only in the field but also in the marketing of the products of his toil. He sells produce at several farmers markets, including Newberry and Irmo, South Carolina, and even Asheville, North Carolina. He and his family split up on the weekends and travel to those locations in hopes to cover a larger area and still keep the market open on the farm. Will has learned how to operate all equipment found on Lever Farms. They grow most of their crops under plastic. Will has also learned the art of beekeeping, which of course is extremely important to the pollination of their fruits and vegetables. Along with strawberries and pumpkins, they also offer a variety of seasonal vegetables. He uses a hand planter to plant cantaloupes on a 5-foot row with a 2-foot seed spacing on each row. Lever Farms is currently the only farm in Newberry County that offers a you pick, we pick pumpkin and strawberry operation. Since they began this operation, field trip requests have skyrocketed. They've begun to reserve Fridays as field trip day. Will enjoys serving as a tour guide as often as he can. The tours begin with a guide through the garden area, then they travel by wagon to see the livestock, bees, and peach orchard. They allow customers to pick their own, which has really been a huge help with labor costs. Customers enjoy the experience, and the farm benefits from having less labor to pay for. They harvest strawberries from April until the end of May. As with all truck crop farms, frost is a huge concern. They keep their crops covered on nights of high risk of frost. Will has recently purchased 2 Hereford heifers, and he plans to grow his herd using artificial insemination. His long-term goal is to add more livestock in the years to come and eventually sell fresh marketed meat at their farmers market. This investment was made possible through his SAE earnings. Lever Farms has been featured on their local news station, which boosted their on-site farm sales tremendously. Will is a proud member of the Newberry FFA chapter, where Ashley Priester and Holly Havard serve as his advisors. He is also a member of the newly formed Bush River Young Farmers Association. Your South Carolina State Star in Agricultural Placement is Will Lever from the Newberry FFA chapter.
We would also like to thank Mr. Tim Cowan for arranging the slideshows for these STARS projects.